All right, everybody, welcome to another Chart Guys video. We're going to be doing a kind of performance slash meta share video since we're so close to Baltimore. Baltimore, as of right now, is in like 5 days, 6 days actually. So we should kind of know what the meta looks like. Obviously, you never really know what it's going to look like. So this is still kind of a guessing game based off of what we've seen. We just had a battle hardened recently. Most of the information we have is in our hands, and we're all making our deck choices now. So we're going to kind of go over the meta a little bit with you guys and let you know what it looks like. We're here with Josh, Will, and Nathan. Josh, you want to explain the chart just a little bit further and let us know exactly what we're going to be doing?
Sure. We're coming to you guys with a XY axis chart here. So the X axis is the predicted meta share. So I think high meta share is going to be around 15% or more. I don't think we're going to see anything like Starvo where there was like 30% or 35, or I can't remember how many percent Starvo was, but
It
was
was a lot.
ridiculous amount. But I'd say like over here is probably about 20, and then this is about, well, we'll kind of play it by ear. You guys will kind of figure out. I think the middle will probably be around 5%, right? And then over here will be less than 1%, right? In terms of the y-axis, we have strong and weak performance. This is just what we expect the deck to do overall. How many, not necessarily top 8s, but how many top 32s this deck will put into that, basically. Obviously, the Pro Tour is partly draft and partly CC, so it's not going to be completely set in stone there, but we should be able to break things down. So basically we have 4 quadrants, right? So the top right quadrant are things that are going to be contenders for, the deck, right? This is where, the most popular and strong decks would be. Down here, we would basically have the overrated category, right? These are popular decks that will perform below average and put a proportionally less amount of people into the top 32. Then over here,
Dromais of the world.
hey, we'll get there. We'll get there when we get there. Over here in the top left quadrant here, we have basically the dark horses. These are decks that may not be piloted by many people. Possibly there are some, hidden tech, basically, and that would come over here, right? And then finally here we have Levia and her buddies, basically, will be over here. Unless somebody knows something we don't. Yeah. This is where Azalea used
Which
to be.
Which is entirely possible.
But I don't think Azalea is going to be over here this time. It'll be like Bolton and his buddies will be over here. Okay. Anyways, so that is that's what we're doing today. We have 19 heroes in CC. Just before we start, though, this is actually one of those Pro Tours where we don't actually have that much information. And so Pro Tours and Worlds often have a conglomeration of like metas, right? So we have like the Europeans, the Asians, and the North Americans all coming together, right? And there could even be some people from South America as well, right? So, and then Australia, New Zealand has their own meta as well. So, all the battle hardens have been predominantly North American, right? And North America is a is going to be a large majority of the Pro Tour meta, obviously, because this is hosted in America, right? So, but I still think there's, going to be there's a strong possibility that we are slightly off base. Although I think our consensus here is that at the end of this, I think we'll be fairly spot on, but there is a possibility because of the way that regions work and the way that teams work, we could be in our own bubble, right? Whether that is in our Card Guys bubble or North American bubble, right? Okay, let's get going here because there are 19 heroes, and this, this could take a little bit of time. I guess let's, try to throw four things into 4 quadrants here. Let's start off with decks that we think will have the. Let's just start off by saying, let me ask, what do you guys think will be the most represented deck at PT3?
Oldhim.
Or Lexi.
Either Oldhim or Lexi. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I've been on kind of the boat that Lexi would be.
Okay. I am of the belief that Lexi is going to be the most popular deck as well. So I think we'll start by talking about her. Okay.
Okay.
So what makes Lexi so appealing in this current meta, and why do we think she will have a strong meta share?
Too many new tools and too many ways to attack. She's just, you try to fatigue her, she's got a plan. Try not to fatigue her, she's got a plan. She's got elements. She's got a bow that shoots 20 new arrows. She's got premeditate. She's got too many utility cards, and they are by far the most powerful cards in the game right now, I feel like.
She is a aggro deck with disruption. For those of you who played Magic the Gathering, this is a blue-red tempo deck, basically. This is a deck that not only has very considerable damage output, even if you take away all the on-hit effects, this is still a deck that can easily get 15 plus value off a 5-card hand.
There's not many decks. Yeah. Go ahead.
There's not many decks that can consistently do that. Like, she's very, very consistent because of the way that Voltaire works, the way that you're able to just cycle through arrows. If you can't quite line up the perfect turn, your card's still blocked for 3 decently. And when you do combine several of her powerhouse cards like Codex, Rain Razors, 3 of a Kind, these type of things, really just push her over the edge there.
Tell me how many decks can kill Oldhim from 20 life?
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
It's exactly that. It's the consistent damage, and throw in the fact that now, instead of having to line up Channel Lake Frigid or certain ice cards in a specific way where they pay off good, now Codex of Frailty and Codex of Inertia are disruption that are also ways to throw another arrow and also get a blocking card out of your opponent's hand. Like, it's just so good. And
they just recycle so much. It's insane the amount of value they can get out of a Snapdragon Scalers, or it just like having 2 Rain Razors active, and you're just like, all right, Codex, get an Endless Arrow back, shoot the Endless Arrow, Snapdragons, put it in your arsenal, Endless Arrow you for 8 again, like sure, like just
there is
the
another
amount of value is insane.
There's another thing to be said for why the meta share of Lexi I think is going to be ridiculously high. At minimum, even in hostile metas, that deck was at least 5%. There are a large enough portion of players that are Lexi stands that you include them, plus all of the people that want a strong deck that's not the hardest thing in the world to play. Plus, those who think that they can tune Lexi in a particular way to be good in the mirror. Like, you add all those up together, I think we're looking at least 15%. I wouldn't be surprised if it was closer to 20, since the Pro Tour generally is more consolidated.
There's a chance, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to throw her all the way as far as we could go, basically, because she is the pillar, right? What about her performance? We've already been talking about how she's very, very strong, but do we think she's going to overperform based on her... Do we think
it depends on
more than 15% of top 32 will be Lexi, assuming 15% of people register Lexi?
I do think so, personally. I just don't think that there's... I haven't found it yet. Like you said, there could be regional discrepancy or team, we just don't have... Or we just haven't figured it out yet or whatever, but I'm not sure if there's a deck that can just prey on Lexi but not lose to the rest of the meta. And if there's enough Lexi in the room, she'll be a high percentage of the top 8. That's generally just how it works.
Yeah, unless someone figures out a way to counter it.
Or top 32, excuse me.
There also is, of course, I'm going to bring this up. People are going to flame me for it. The Talishar data for Lexi is ridiculous. If you look at it for April, all of her win rate overall is like 58%. None of her matchups are negative. Her weakest matchup is actually the mirror. So, that tells you something. And, just by the number of games being played on Talishar, Lexi is being played a lot. So I think it's fair to say we could put her here.
Yeah, I think the
fine.
toughest thing is you just, as a Lexi player, you have to decide how you're going to build the deck, and that's going to be in a meta that's not so well defined. It's kind of difficult to do that, right? You don't want to like go all ice and then lose your Guardian matchup, you know. So I think Fuseless will be more prominent by far, just because that's kind of what you have to do to not give up your advantage into Oldhim. And Bravo as well. So I really do think that Fuseless Lexi alone will probably be at least 10%.
Okay. All right, Alex, you mentioned Dromai as a contender for the overrated category.
It was more so kind of a poke at the last two big tournaments that we have data for, and it's been the most represented deck in both of those tournaments, and I think put 1 out of 16 top 8 spots, I think.
Wasn't there a top 8 in both, or just the second
just in the second one, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Which is... that if that doesn't tell you something with those events, she just if we're already like, you know, I'll jump ahead just a tad bit because it's not a spoiler. Oldhim is going to be another one of the most represented decks in the room, and she just struggles with Oldhim big time. And
Illusionist Guardian, it's always been hard on the Illusionist. Like
it's I just think that Dragon Mommy attracts a lot of mommy fans, and she's gonna have her cult following that has spent $2,000 on their deck. You know,
these are Prism refugees.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They got all their Marvel dragons, and they got all their Marvel Ashwings, and you'll see them out there doing the thing. They don't care whether they win or lose. They're gonna go down in flames with style.
Yep. They almost lured me in, but I got out of the cult.
Where would you place her in this category?
I would like halfway on the right bar, but like maybe a little bit below the bar.
About 10%. Rough.
I think she'll. I was
thinking
5
basically
to 10%
she's a mirror of Lexi.
Really?
Percentage wise, she might actually be like a 10 to 15%.
Yeah, I think she's closer to Lexi because
the
although the Pro
people...
Tour would generally attract, you know, people to, you know, try hard more, right? I still think there's going to be a considerable amount of people that are just going to play what they want to play. So, especially once in a meta that I would say up until very recently, people had no idea what was going on. The chance that somebody plays their comfort pick is much higher.
Yes.
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay. As for her performance, we already mentioned some of the reasons why we think Dromai is going to struggle. But do you think it's going to be significantly below this line, or is it going to be closer here?
I bet you one sneaks in the top 8.
Yeah, I think it's very reasonable that somebody figures out a way to put Dromai in the top 8, but
sure,
remains to be seen.
Sure, we'll leave it there.
I would say that generally she'll perform kind of poorly, but I think a handful of the best Dromai players will actually do very well. And that's just sheer off of probably preparation. And on paper, it is one of the better decks in the Lexi. But I don't know whether the great illusionist minds have like found a way to truly crack that. But I think anybody that spent a lot of time just perfecting that, you know, like your Maras and stuff like that, I think they will do. They'll do very well. But as a whole, statistically, I think the hero will underperform.
Sure.
All it takes is one mistake with that deck. Like you play to burn them all too early or something, and then boom, you just lost the game. So.
All right. Let's continue clockwise here. And what is the deck that we think is going to be low representation and weak performance? Oldhim?
Bolton.
Bolton. Okay. I thought you said Oldhim. I'm like, hold on.
Yeah.
All right.
Riptide.
All right.
Levia.
All right. Let's just drag them out here and we'll talk about them together. All right.
Put them all in the bottom left corner. They won't be there and they will do poorly.
Okay.
Just toss them in this box somewhere.
Let's Okay,
throw some dirt on it.
I am a Bolton main, and I think some people are going to be interested to hear what I have to say about this current meta for Bolton.
Let's hear it.
Okay, first of all, combo Bolton is probably the correct way to play the deck at the moment. Several reasons. The Lexis are fuseless. The Oldhims don't have their Ice Shield and Blizzard, and Icelander is presumably dead. Now, rumors of her death may be exaggerated, but the 3 Ice Heroes were traditionally some of the most annoying decks for Bolton to deal with. However, Assassin and Ranger both have Codex of Frailty, which really messes up your combo because it literally scoots your combo away or it cuts down 6 damage, which both are not great, right? So there's that. However, if the metagame for some reason is very, very aggressive, which it could be in a month, Bolton could return, right? If all the decks are saying, "Oh, Lexi, you don't block very well. We're gonna play aggro Viscera. We're gonna play aggro Bravo. We're just gonna go Unga Bunga and try to kill Lexi as quickly as possible." Then this is where Bolton would come back, right? As for his current position, probably tied with Levia for lowest meta share. I don't think if more than 3 people bring any of these heroes, I'm going to be surprised. 3 people is basically 1% of the meta.
You'll have Jimmy Lee on Bolton, and that's it.
Jimmy's not even playing. Jimmy won't be there, I don't think.
No, okay. Well, then there won't be any.
Okay. As for the other heroes here, do we want to briefly talk about each of these?
Yeah, I want to talk about Riptide because in the comment section of our last tier list video, somebody said that they almost stopped watching because I volunteered to put Riptide in the D category. And I'm just curious. I'm just curious if that person still feels the same because that hero is hot dog water, bro.
That's a nice trap you got there. Fast turn.
Yeah, he hasn't done nothing. I mean, all joking aside, I mean, he's a new hero. He doesn't take advantage of the rest of the Ranger card pool as much as the others because he operates kind of on a different axis. So he's kind of he's in that spot where he kind of needs support, and then once that support comes, he may be viable, but just not.
We may be for all you, maybe the new Azalea one day.
All you Blitz lovers out there, there's some pretty wacky Riptide Blitz lists, so have fun with that.
Oh yeah, and Blitz, he can get the job done.
Of these 4 heroes, I do think I do think the Levi and Bolton players would get further in the tournament than the Arachne and Riptide, so I'm going to put them a little bit higher.
Totally.
Right?
I thought I'd never say this, but I think Levy is actually the best hero in that square.
I think you're right, which is hilarious.
Okay, we'll put her slightly above Bolton then.
There you go. That's for you, man, Sam.
Okay. All right, so we are done with this quadrant. All right, this is actually the most interesting quadrant, and I think a lot of people will be very curious what we think. This is basically the Dark Horse quadrant.
I don't think we're done with this quadrant.
Oh, we're not done. Okay. We're gonna make them wait for our spice there. Okay.
Oh yeah. We need Viscera.
Viscera.
But he'll be more and better, but still pretty bad.
Nathan, as the Ruined Blade player, let me ask you: if Viscera still had Skeletor, would he be cash money?
He'd be up here.
He'd be the best deck in the format. What do you mean?
Oh, is it that good? I just haven't played with it in a while.
Yes.
Have you ever hit somebody for 24 rune chance in one turn?
Will, let me tell you, have you ever flipped over 20 cards and put half of them in your hand? The deck is the thing is, right? It's like a combo deck that had the ability to pivot into an aggro deck. So it had no weaknesses. You couldn't target it in any way because if the meta ever defined itself against you.
You go slow, you die. You go fast, they block, and then you die.
I've forgotten. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Oh,
Good to
yeah.
know.
Oh,
The
yeah.
only reason there was a deck that could compete with it is because that deck had dominate on the
Starvo?
card. No, it's because
Yeah.
the deck specifically had dominate written on the cards.
And I would argue that was still disfavored, but that
I-
might be
I-
a little biased.
It was, yeah. But anyway, the other hero we might like to include in this square. Can anybody guess?
Katsu?
No,
Reiner?
actually, low meta
Uh,
share. Yeah, I'll put Katsu in the same square, but not in the same kind of realm. I would say Kano.
Yeah.
All right, Kano.
You think so?
I think
I'm gonna
Low
say
meta-
low
meta
meta
share.
share.
here.
But
But like kind
Kinda
of mid,
here.
kind of mid performance
Here,
he could
as
do
usual.
like here, crossing
Let him
it.
touch the line.
It's
Yeah,
low
right
meta
there, right
share,
there.
but he could
Okay.
do good. He could do good. Yeah, if Hayden Dale was coming to PT, then it would be in the other square. But because he's not, it has to go in the line.
Anyway,
So, what type of meta does Kano traditionally do well in?
One that's defined.
yes.
Hmm.
And
When
one
you
where
know what
they,
to expect, and you, yeah,
well, one of the
One more-
issues with Kano is that literally these two decks like are really really annoying for them to deal with. Like even
Right.
Dromai, like Redline Dromai is going to be running Arena's Prayer, right? And then Lexi has Shock Charmers, which basically says block 20 arcane damage, right? So there's that.
I don't know
right?
about Arena's Prayer, but Oasis Respite for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think the red line Dromai
I think
decks
they've
run
I think they've
Arena's Prayer.
recently dropped it, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Oh, right, because there's not very many Kanos. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of a cycle, right? Like if people forget about Kano, that's when he comes back, right? So
Mhm.
okay, I think we'll put him here. I think that's a good position for him. All right. Anything else, or can we leave this quadrant?
Katsu.
Katsu.
You can go ahead
Okay.
and throw Katsu in there as well.
All
I
right.
think his performance will be mid, but he will be quite a low meta share, very similar to Viscerai.
He
Yeah, I
will
think
do
you
better
put
than
him lower.
Viscerai, but nothing for
Yeah.
I think a little worse than Kato, honestly.
something like this.
Wait, so
Yeah.
by this graph representation, you're saying that Katsu's going to outperform Dromai?
By the percentage conversion into top 32. That is what we are qualifying as weak or strong
Okay.
performance, right?
Okay, that makes sense. So you're saying one or two might sneak in top 32, and that puts Katsu up.
Yeah. If 10 people register Katsu and 2 of them make top 32, that's good.
Right.
Even if one of them makes top 32, that's probably going to be better than Dromai's conversion rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10% conversion rate is actually
Dang.
below average. So the math is basically maybe top 32 means you basically place in the top 15% of the tournament. So if you are, 85th percentile, you should make top 32, basically.
Mhm.
Okay, I think it's safe to leave Katsu there. I think we do need to talk a little bit more about him, especially considering he got a lot of new cards, and there's several ways that you can build him.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have tried to make this work, but
Guilty.
it is one of those decks that there's too much agency on your from your opponents, whether or not you
Yes.
get your hero ability, which
Exactly.
is that's not really where you want to be. Like Katsu obviously can be like water and adapt to whether or not the opponent blocks, but in order for him to have really really big turns, the opponents kind of have to mess up their blocks or get kind of greedy.
Mhm.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I could solve the fatigue Oldhim, but I couldn't solve the regular Oldhim problem.
Mhm.
So I tried everything. You have consistency issues. You have a whole bunch of stuff.
Of note, I think Ketsu is actually one of the better picks against these two. Ninja traditionally has been very, very good against Dromai. And if you don't want to block anything, which is basically what Lexi wants to do, Katsu's
Katsu gets a
turns
lot better.
can get really ridiculous, and he could even hit you with Dishonor. And if you get hit with Dishonor, you basically lose as Lexi.
Absolutely.
Because if you can't flip over your arsenal, you aren't getting the benefit from New Horizons. So,
2 words: tar pit trap.
tar pit trap. Why does that interact with Katsu?
It stops on hit.
It stops like the draw. It stops the Katsu trigger. It stops.
Ain't nobody playing
everything.
tar pit trap.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Okay.
It's the trap.
Tar pit who?
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
All right. Can
That's
we
so fun.
finally leave the
Yes. All right, let's do the far two right heroes there, Reiner and Azuri.
This is basically Twitch chat goes crazy if they win a game on camera, right? This is this zone. Okay. All right. What did you want to talk about up here?
The far two heroes, Reiner and Azuri.
All right, let's talk about them one by one. Okay, so Reinhardt. Where exactly would you want to put it, or do you want to talk about it first and then move it?
I like where he's at, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay. All right, tell me a little bit about Reiner.
Yeah, honestly, I'd agree.
Like, I think it's a sleeper pick. I do think that you have to play a more value oriented, because you don't want your games to come down to, did I draw Blood Rush Bellow or not? You want to manipulate the game to make it where you always get to that card, and be able to take advantage of it, or your barragings or whatever you're playing to. So I think a more value oriented approach could it's great into Dromai. You're probably rough into the really fast decks like Lexi, the ninjas probably, but like the rest and like Oldhim, you have game into it. It's not the worst, not the best, but like you have game. If you're a very talented player, you could pitch deck something and make it happen.
Reinhardt also is quietly one of the most Guardian-like hero that is not a Guardian. You can build Reinhardt in a way that all his stuff blocks for 3, that he has excellent armor, he has a club that comes in for 4. And you can build him with, Sync, Fate, Springboard, Reckless Swing. You can also run Tunic on Reinhardt, so then you can start to include things like Oasis in there as well. And Reinhardt is a deck that has deterministic wins if you pitch stack, right? So there's that. And the only thing that I'm kind of questioning about Reinhardt is that, like, we haven't really seen any indication that Reinhardt is good. It is more like just several things lining up, and like in our heads we're like, okay, there could be something here, but we're not 100% sure about this one, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
I think his meta share will be like 5 people on Reinhardt, and I think at least one of them is going to make it in the top 32, which is a good conversion rate.
5 out of like 300 is going to be over here. This is like saying there's going to be like 12.
I'd say it'd be about 12.
I could see that.
About, 4%.
We'll see.
4% is about here. Okay, we'll put him here for now. Okay, and the other hero you wanted to talk about was Azuri.
Yeah,
I'm thinking the exact opposite.
I think there's going to be. I think she's going to be mid-represented.
Yeah,
maybe on like the middle line.
But I think she'll do bad.
Yeah, I just don't think she's going to perform nearly as well.
Yeah.
There's been one in the top 8 of the past 2 Battle Hardens.
Yeah, but a lot of players have like adapted. Like the Oldhim players, they just said, all right, since you're going to run Scale Pillar, I'm just going to run Sledge and I'm just going to fatigue you.
That's a good point.
There's literally nothing in the Azuri toolkit to combat that effectively.
Yep.
And like it's just a bad combination of a hero not being able to efficiently utilize their entire hand.
Yeah.
Not in like she can play them all, but like when you're throwing Spider Bites for 1 damage, paying 2 resource, like you're not getting
Spider Bite.
Right. Spider Bite. But yeah, like I mean, you're just
sure. Pitch a blue Earth card, you stop 2 spiders. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they have Van Brace, so like generally you
Mhm.
only stop to one, but if they're committing 5 resources to getting 1 damage through,
let them have it.
you got it.
You got it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I just think that she did really good because it caught a lot of people on guard, like surprised a lot of people, but then people learned how to play that matchup.
Yep.
And then her performance just dipped.
I would wager a decent amount of people at the Battle Hardened or the Chicago Brawl, half the meta, not half, maybe 30% of the people there could not tell you what the card shakedown does. Word for word.
Oh, totally. I bet,
Right?
Probably.
And that is a reason why she did well, right? If you don't, she's very similar to Dory. If you do not know what she does, she's going to kick your ass.
Yeah.
But if you do know what she does, then her power level is greatly diminished, right?
Yeah.
Also, timely D-reacts are very, very effective against Azuri. Even against Command and Conquer, there's still a response window, right? So if they activate Azuri and you look them in the eye and you're like, is that a CNC?
Mhm.
And then
You don't care. You just block the damage and move on, whatever it is, right? Like, because like you ever seen a sink blow in front of a CNC and it's good to go? Like,
that's
like
where,
they actually give you a
great.
window to sink below their CNC. Like, if you want to look at it that way, it's
exactly. Yep. Okay. Any
speaking
other
of Dory.
Well, one thing before we move on to Dory, Azuri also struggles against Dromai, right?
So bad.
Yes, very much.
There is not really a way to build her.
No.
The Dargans, they're powerful.
No, I would rather put my foot in the lawnmower blade than play that matchup on that side. Rough.
All right.
No, it seems rough, yeah.
All right, so we wanted to talk about Dory.
We did.
Obviously, this is going to be a rare pick. Now, I do know of several people that are going to bring Dory to the Pro Tour because they have messaged me.
And they all have signed cards of yours.
They have all messaged me to look at their decks, right? And I have told them all the same thing. Basically, I've said, that Biting Blade card in your list, that's pretty good. And they, but anyways. I would be surprised if Dory's meta share is above any of these here. However,
I would be as well.
I do think her performance will be about average. The issue of playing Dory at Pro Tour is that you're playing against better people. And when you play against better people as Dory, you gotta really be on the ball. Like, when you play against people at your armory or skirmish or RTN PQ, you're handed a certain amount of games and people mess up all the time, right? against if you're going into round 10 of Pro Tour 8-2, your opponent is gonna know what Dory does and is gonna be a very, 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 very hard game for you, right? Just in general, right?
Yes.
Obviously, Dory, at the moment, there's probably a slightly above average amount of D-reacts floating around in the metagame. There's also a slightly larger amount of things like Oasis and Peace of Mind that are floating around the metagame as well. So those are two things that are bad. However, Dory does have a decent matchup into both of these heroes. You do have to build your deck in such a way that, you could put enough pressure on them. And against Dromai, you need to have at least 25 sources of go again. That's kind of the magic number. If you have more than 25 sources of go again, you could actually deck the Dromai out. So the main thing is you're just trying to play quickly enough to actually deck them out, right? As for, Oldhim, obviously that is one of the most problematic matchups for Dory, ever since the beginning of the game. But, Dory does handle most of the metagame decently. The only issue is that this is a hero that loses power when you play against people that know what they're doing. So that's kind of why I would put her kind of on this line here. I think she will probably convert on average compared to her meta share. And her percentage, I would probably put it like here, probably about 8 people, maybe 9, of which I know like 7 of them. Okay, so I think we'll put that there. Any other thoughts on Dory?
I think you nailed it.
Okay. Let's move on and talk about Bravo. This is actually, if you look at the stats for Lexi, the hero that Lexi has the most problems with, other than the mirror, is Bravo.
Yeah.
So I think secretly he's going to be somewhere here.
I think he's going to be to the right of Reiner, but not quite on the line.
Like here.
Yeah.
But above, like parallel to Reiner.
Yeah, I could see that. The other side. We had it before. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. WTR buddies there. Okay. Tell me a little bit why you think Bravo deserves that position there.
He just does. Look how handsome he is. So I think the meta's in a spot where Crippling Crush he just has the tools to handle a lot of the top decks. He's very good into Dromai. He has game into Oldhim. He has disruption for Lexi. He has
BX for Azuri.
He has he's just got the full package of things to deal with a lot of what's going on in the meta right now. But it is going to take a very skillful Bravo pilot to actually manage to get into that top 32 and take it down from there. So every matchup is going to be an immense fight, an immense battle. And but I think he does have the tools as long as he has the pilot behind it.
Bravo is in a spot right now where if you don't play perfect games, I think you will just get smacked. But if you play perfect games, he's probably pretty good.
I think so. I think he's going to be pretty good. I think his meta, he has kind of a cult following, very similar to Dorinthea or Katsu or any other hero, except he's actually pretty decent at the moment, I think. So I think he'll have just a slightly better meta share. And I think that's been true in the past couple of Battle Hardens and things that we've seen as well. So I think he'll continue to hold that spot.
Sure. Any other comments on Bravo?
I think he's I wouldn't say he's any weaker than Oldhim. I would just say he answers a different question. Is kind of the way I would put it. Like the people that I would recommend Bravo to would be like, if you're kind of worried about the Oldhim mirror because of like a skill gap, you just don't have as many reps. I would say that you might actually be better off bringing Bravo and just playing that matchup more aggressively. And then that way, I'm not saying it's a less skillful match. I'm just saying that it requires a lot less thinking points. You still need to do things correctly in a certain way, but it's a lot less tedious and a lot fewer decisions because you play it on more aggressively on your end. So he has his purpose, and Crippling Crush is a card.
I agree.
It's a good card too.
He also utilizes Pummel quite a bit better.
Yep. The only downside is you can't Tunic Pummel the CNC as easily.
He answers the Rangers a little better, I feel like, than Oldhim does. Maybe not Azalea. I don't know.
We will see.
We
will see.
All right. Let's talk about the other Guardian. I think would be this is the correct time.
Far to the right and probably pretty high up. Probably
like slightly above the line, I would say.
Yeah, he's a good hero.
I think he'll do just as good as Lexi.
I think so. Yeah, I don't really see any reason for him not to. I mean, it doesn't matter what you throw into the meta. Oldham's going to adapt, and he's going to be good. He's going to put people in the top cut. The pilots that have played 10,000 reps of Oldhim to this day have proven time and time again that they do not give a shit what you throw at them. They are going to adapt the deck, and they are going to kick your butt. And it's whether that means they're going to put 18 life gain spells in the deck, or they're going to put 18 dominated attacks in the deck. Doesn't matter. They're just going to adapt and win the game. And the deck just has too much utility. I don't know which has access to a huge card pool, and they keep taking away cards from him, and he keeps winning events. So But yes, he just won the Battle Hardened, and not only was it just winning the Battle Hardened, but the finals was a mirror match, and that was this meta. Granted, it's not. Some people are going to be holding back, and it's not going to be a fully evolved meta. But the Pro Tour is people are going to see that, and they're going to default to Oldhim for the Pro Tour.
Mm-hmm.
But
do we think the Vambrace of Determination has helped?
Yes,
against Oldhim. It is also, ironically, it has helped Oldhim to not be fatigued by
it has helped
Oldhim.
Oldhim against Oldhim. That's the only thing I think it has helped. But
it's like, oh, we're gonna actually have a winner in this game. That's the thing, right? All right. Okay, we got 5 heroes left. Nice diversity in these 5 heroes here. Which one do we want to talk about first?
Let's do Azalea.
Yeah, that's a good
All right,
one.
this is the hero that had the largest amount of hype.
This lit the world, the Flesh and Blood world, on fire.
From
have you seen the price of premeditate?
Right. So
from the pits to the top.
Yeah. So
I think her results are going to put her back in the pits because I think she'll be very highly represented, but I think she will convert very poorly because she's much more linear and I only ask one simple question, whereas Lexi is a much more dynamic question that requires a lot of answers to answer. So
they were like, we can do all of these things, but we can also just play Lexi and do them better.
Right. Yep.
We lose dominate, but we win the game.
That's a good way of putting it.
Which is a better hero ability, as it turns out.
I'll go as far to say that her conversion is worse than Dromai.
I would. Yeah, that's probably going to be true.
Brody Spurlock just dropped his ham sandwich in the sand when he heard that.
I don't think Brody's going to bring Azalea.
I don't think he is either. There's no shot. Way. No way.
I also feel like
I'll eat my words.
We're overestimating this meta share. Right here, this is basically saying like 10%. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near 10%.
If Brody brings Azalea, I'll buy his next ham sandwich. I mean,
I think it's going to be closer to 5%.
No way it's under 10%.
Well, no, Lexi. All the Azaleas are going to try and prey upon Lexi. So I can see it.
People love it.
They're going to get
put
8%. Imagine
8%.
Winning the
That's
Pro
my
Tour with
okay.
Oh
8%.
my gosh.
That sounds about right. 8% Azalea.
Could you imagine not making day 2 in the calling with Azalea?
What's it like?
I mean, it's just an easy answer. Like add more D-reacts and reinforce the line. Problem solved. I'm gonna save it.
Yeah, but I think one thing you guys are not thinking about is when people go to a Pro Tour, they metagame the metagame's metagame, and they come full circle to some nonsense decision when they should have just stayed with the first decision.
Right.
And
I think the percentage of people that think like that is like no more than 20% though.
So 8% sounds pretty good.
Okay, I think we're gonna put her on this line here, but where do we put her on this line here? Nathan, you thought she's gonna convert pretty poorly.
Yeah, at Dromai or even below is where I would put her, but
I would put her right at Dromai. I think that's a fair.
I think so. I feel like they're gonna.
She might get 2 copies in the top 64.
Okay, we'll put her.
Okay. Or Azalea.
Yeah. All right.
What about Dash?
This is one of the hardest ones, I think, for us to put.
Super hard.
Alan.
So I don't think this is going to be highly represented, but
I don't think so either.
I think it's going to be maybe. So if we assume that this is like,
no,
you think she's going to be right on the line here?
She's going to be near where Azalea is on the same line as Azalea. If
really?
we're put, it's Dash, of course. Like when the Oldhims reign supreme, the Dashes get copium and
okay.
like tree frog dash and regular dash, and not, it's going to be there. It's going to be
Tree
at least
frog?
8%. It's going to be at least 8%. There's no way it's not.
Okay. All right, I can be convinced that it is going to be about 8%. In terms of performance,
I think a little above the line, maybe. I'm not sure. It's really hard.
Yeah.
This is one I'm not sure of.
yeah, I'm not sure of this one either.
Because you have to also to differentiate between like which dash, like tree
Yeah,
frog
yeah,
or mid range.
yeah.
I think obviously the whole Talishar super boost aggro Hanabi blaster kind of thing is like obviously that's kind of like not what people are doing now.
Mech suit dash is going to win the Pro Tour.
No, it's not.
Didn't you know?
We'll
No, it's not.
Oh man,
God, that was the thing for like a week and a half.
it
I
was.
mean, people wanted a reason to use their $300 mech suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, dash is one I can't really comment too much on. It's just too difficult to analyze for me personally.
I think the players that are going to be on Dash have probably worked on their matchups quite a bit and figured out which build of Dash they want to bring. So I think that is going to help the meta share or the performance. I would say that on average, the players that play Dash work harder than the other classes at their deck because their deck list really has to be tuned carefully, right? Whereas
you might have some assessment bias on this particular.
that could be true. That could be true.
She has like a 10th of the card pool because she can't play generics.
That is true. That is true. That is true.
Yep.
I mean, she can, but like just not a lot.
Speaking of heroes that like to play generics and not their class cards,
Briar.
I wish we had somebody that could comment on Briar in this chat.
Me too.
Okay, I'm playing Briar as of 2 days ago.
All right. All right. I think.
Okay, so get it out.
she's good in the Oldhim. I think she is anyway.
Agreed.
That's my opinion. I think once again, this is my opinion. Every Dromai player in the world is going to disagree, but I think she's favored into Dromai.
Dromais are smoking something.
60-60.
And I think you're unfavorable into both Rangers, obviously, for a million reasons. You're probably like 50-50 into Dash. So like where we currently have our chart set, she's basically good into one of each of the top decks. She's bad into, bad into Dromai or bad into Azalea, good into Dromai, and even with Dash. So like she's like dead in the middle, kind of how we have things laid out. I don't think she is like a great pick. I don't think she's a bad pick. I think that if you are going to bring her, I think you need a lot of pre-existing reps to justify it and a lot of experience. I think this is not a hero that if you picked it up 2 weeks ago, I wish you the best, and I hope you can swing that last Rosetta swing. But it's going to be an uphill battle for sure.
I would love nothing more than to see her win the Pro Tour and Living Legend, but the odds are against her.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Too many Lexis running around. Too many Azaleas running around.
So 6-7% meta share, right where we have her.
I would put her like where she is up and down, but like put her between Azuri and Dash, like slightly behind.
Like here.
Yeah, somewhere. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's where I put her.
Okay. We will defer to you on that. Okay.
It's just a problem because she has to telegraph her power turn. That's what it boils down to. It's like, there's my CMH. What are you going to do about it? And there's too many decks that can say, well, this is what I'm going to do about it. And
sure.
That's it.
Shall we do Icelander and Phi?
Let's do Icelander first.
The Uprising heroes need their time and the show.
Well, if there's someone out there who figured out a secret with Icelander, then I think Icelander could show up and surprise people. But if they haven't figured out anything,
here's what I think, and this has been just an inkling in the back of my mind for quite some time, is that people have been sandbagging Icelander for this event.
Yes.
And I do not.
There are two builds that I think may show up again. That's why I'm very likely to put her here.
I think strong performance, but maybe on the line as far as representation.
Not much. I don't think we see a ton.
No, like on the middle line. Yeah. But strong performance. That's where I would put her. But I think the Dromais are going to get knocked back, so she'll get bumped up. She'll have game into everything as she always does, and Michael Hamilton will have solved the puzzle.
Right. I'm pretty sure there's people listening right now that are wondering what I'm talking about when I'm talking about these two builds, right? So let me talk about what I'm talking about for these two builds of Icelander that I think are poised to come back. So those of you who played against Icelander before Bulllander was a thing will be familiar with these two styles, right? There's the Sigil of Permafrost build, and there is the Frost Fang. What was that weapon called that pokes you?
Kraken's Aether Vein.
Oh yeah,
style,
forgot about
right?
that one.
Lexi wants to keep her whole hand. The Kraken Aether Vein style says you don't get to keep your whole hand. Paired with all the strong disruption, possibly gets there. The Sigil Permafrost build is one of the few ways to give frostbites on the opponent's turn. And if you give Lexi enough frostbites, that also shuts her turn down, right? Obviously, instant speed CMH going to be very good against Lexi and Dromai. CLF. If she could play CMH, oh geez, she probably wouldn't play it. But that would be, that would mean she's like an Earth Ice wizard. That would be basically
wacky.
Oldhim's wife or something. Okay, so those two builds are builds that used to be predominant. And for those of you who've been playing Blitz, you guys are very familiar with the arcane style of Icelander that is, running around in Blitz right now, right? So there are many, many, many styles of Icelander that exist, but people have forgotten that they exist because Bulllander has been the style of playing Icelander for the last 8 months. So I think if you sit across an Icelander at Pro Tour, you should assume they're doing something kind of weird. That's what would be. I would generally say that would be the case. Yeah,
I just the Kraken's Aether Vein and the Sigil plan just kind of fold to Guardian.
That is
is the only pro. So like,
I think there's going to be a hybrid approach.
I mean,
because
don't know if there's that many slots.
The main deck for Icelander is so insanely good, and it doesn't need to even they don't even need to sideboard anything to beat half the decks on this chart, right? And then they don't have to worry about the mirror match, which was really problematic.
The Sigil of Permafrost was actually how they dealt a good chunk of their damage before they started doing the Ice Eternal build, right? So the sigils they can side in without hardly having to impact their deck at all. If they think that they're not going to need, you just take out your Scar for a Scar and Wounded Bull, right? There's 6 slots right there that you could bring in and very easily just play a different game plan. And I really, really do think that this deck is going to perform well. Disclaimer, I am not playing it. But I do expect it to perform. Okay,
I can see it.
Right, I think it's fair to put it up there.
Yeah,
maybe slightly this way.
I think right on the line as far as representation.
All right, let's go with that.
Yeah.
All right, finally, the Zoomer Ninja himself.
Zoomer Boomer Ninja.
He's not going to be represented.
I would say right where he is, just to the left a little bit. I think
let's put it right in a smack dab on the T.
Why not?
Right in the middtle. The people think we forgot to finish the chart.
Somebody's got to hold down the middle.
Yeah.
It's just ever since he lost Belittle, he kind of fell out of the limelight. There's Rangers. There's Red in the Ledger. There's so many things.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how Fi is going to perform, to be honest with you. I'm under the impression that there's just not going to be enough people playing him, but I also think that the people that do might see a little bit of success, just depending on what matchups they get on the day.
Right.
And that's true with most big tournaments. Is you're going to have to give and take a little bit with your matchups, and Fi is one of those decks where if you get the wrong matchups, you get put in a bracket where you're going to get eaten alive. And maybe he's decent into the meta, but like, I don't know. I don't think I just don't think he's going to do very well. He's not going to have a lot of representation.
Fi can draw very, very nutty turns back to back and kind of get there. I think this metagame is okay for him, but the issue is that the power level of that deck was closely entwined with Belittle, right? So is Fi's game plan going to be good enough? We will see, I guess. All right.
Art of War is still strong.
Art of War is still pretty good. Not as busted as it is in Chain, but still pretty good.
Three of a kind at home.
Yeah, we got 3 of a kind at home. 2 of a kind. All right. Okay, so first of all, there's some similarities here. We have our ice heroes here.
Oh my! I just realized.
I mean,
is this
they
gonna
printed
change?
something that's ice is busted. What do you want to say? You're a resource curve game, and it shuts down resources. Like,
yeah, it's interesting because it feels like a lot of the tax effects, if they could design it in like decimal points, they would have designed it to like tax 0.72 of a resource. But
we don't want that Japanese 7,500 damage card game.
But they can't do that, so they're like, tax them 1. So that's what it is now, right? Yeah. Okay. So other than that, is there any other things that are kind of jumping out at us? A large portion of the meta is not viable. Nothing new. Or not viable, but going to be very rare. Generally at Pro Tour, we saw a pretty big drop off after the 8th most played hero, and this is kind of going to line up pretty closely here. Any other do we want to move anything now that we've kind of put things on the board here?
Nah, we're perfect.
I was going to say, I'm not mad at it.
We did it right the first time. Have the chart guys ever moved anything?
Absolutely never made a mistake ever in our lives.
The chart guys have never moved anything.
You might as well just create the pie chart for the Pro Tour now.
Yep.
We got it figured out.
Okay, so in summary, we would say these are about probably 15 to 18% each.
Yeah.
And then, these are about 8%. Maybe these are like closer to 10, something like that. These are like
the
4
slivers that they have to draw the line out of the pie chart because it's too thin to put the name in.
Yep. And then anything over here is where you annoy the graphic designer. Yep. So,
it's like when Josh made them include that one Bolton for
and they put like baby Bolton as well. They're like, that's him, right?
I can't remember what he looks like. Haven't seen him in a while.
Yep. I'm like, wow, Josh is like in top 30 with baby Bolton. What's he doing? Okay, anyways, so do we I guess a safe top 8 would be, 1 Icelander, 1 Oldhim, 1 Lexi, 1 Dash, 1 Dromai, and then 3 wildcards. Something like that.
I'd say 2 Lexis easy and 2
Oldhim. two Lexis. Okay, then 1 wildcard basically. Yep. So 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, and 1 from over here.
All right, I think that's a fair assessment.
Yep.
It'll probably be Kano.
I guess the only other thing is, do we think? So not everybody that is watching this video is going to be in the Pro Tour. There are people that are going to be in the calling. Do we think that this list is representative of the calling?
No.
expected
No.
calling metagame?
No, probably not.
So we've said a couple times over the video that things tend to consolidate at the Pro Tour level. Well, the opposite is true at a calling level event. You have things that it's much more, not everybody
play what you love type of
Well,
thing.
it's not just that, right, Nathan? It's the fact that you're in the same room with all of the people that would consolidate the meta,
right?
not playing in your event.
Exactly.
So you might as well just take this chart here and shake it up in a bucket and throw it at the wall. That's your meta representation.
Right.
So
it'd be much more spread out, lower numbers across the board. People just playing what they love to play, because a lot of people don't test 20 hours a week, right? And they haven't figured out what that 20% hero is. And they're just playing Katsu because they like saying Kadachi for one, like that's just the reality of it. And it is what it is.
Agreed.
Yep. Okay. Final thoughts. This has been going for about an hour, so this is about time to wrap it up.
Final thoughts. Good luck to everybody that shows up to the Pro Tour. Good luck to everybody that shows up to the calling. Hope you have a good time. Hope you have a safe travel getting there. We will see you there. All four of us specifically, plus Nam, wherever he is. Shout out to our sponsors that are helping us get there for sure. Fabric, thank you guys very much. Dragon Shield, thank you guys very much. We look forward to repping the jerseys at the event. Look out for us at the event. We'll have our jerseys on, name on the back. You can spot us real easily. Feel free to come up, say hey, talk to us. We're always happy to meet and greet with everybody, especially our patrons who hang out with us all the time. Always happy to see your beautiful faces in person. Expect Josh to be around. I said expect Josh to be around signing cards somewhere on some table somewhere.
Yeah, if you want your route signed, come talk to me. And if you dare, you can challenge us as well.
Yes.
We will be giving out chips to the winners of those games.
And if you want Josh's chip, it looks like this one.
Oh yeah, how'd you get that?
PT1.
PT1. Oh no, Starvo. Oh no. All right. Okay, so overall, I think we're pretty happy with this metagame. I think, right? This is one of the healthier metagames.
Yeah.
A little bit more
we'll have a good time.
Diverse metagame. Yeah, I think Baltimore will be good fun, and like Alex said, we hope to see you guys there as well.
Absolutely.
Right. Wrap us up and get us out of here.
Sounds good. Well, thank you guys for watching the video. We always enjoy making these tier lists and chart lists, especially right before a big event when we think that it's going to be a good one. A lot of information to share with you guys. Subscribe to the video, or subscribe to the channel. Wow. Subscribe to the channel if you guys enjoyed the video. Like the video as well. It helps us with the algorithm. Check out all of our links in the description. We have a Patreon. We have, if you're buying cards on TCG Player, we have a TCG Player affiliate link, all that fun stuff. But most importantly, just thank you guys for watching the video, and we will see you in the next one.
See you guys.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.